Welcome to another episode of the Colors of Prog, the YouTube channel I created where I discuss progressive rock music, prog rock music, and bands and albums, and the past, the present, possibly the future about some bands that are continuing onward. So this time we're doing a little different. I chose a few bands, actually most of them from the past, to discuss. The first out of the gate will be Colosseum. It's a Daughter of Time album. I don't know if we have a little, not quite sure if you guys can see this. I got some glare. So the Daughter of Colosseum pretty much were started by John Heisman on drums and Dick Hextall Smith on tenor sax. They were originally with that whole group of R&B bands in the late 50s, early 60s, Alexis Corner, Blues Incorporated, that kind of idiom there. The Rolling Stones, the Pretty Things in their earliest incarnations. R&B came from England's version of skiffle. England just created skiffle, which is a medley of folk and blues, before they really truly adopted R&B and blues. So these guys also came from skiffle bands. Anyway, so Heisman, great drummer, and Hextall Smith, great sax player, really unique sidemen, and who knew that they could be band leaders? They worked with John Mayall on his Bare Wires album, a terrific album. Actually, it's not just a blues record. Bare Wires is one of John Mayall's more progressive works. It's actually a concept album. He's done a few of those, Blues from Laurel Canyon, for example. Anyway, let's get back to these guys. So, after working with Mayall in 1968, they formed Colosseum with a couple other band members I'll get to in a moment. I did skip something. They were also in, prior to this, the Graham Bond organization. Graham Bond was another multi-instrumentalist, keyboard player, various sax, tenor sax, baritone sax. The guy was very talented. He was a band leader. He actually had the Graham Bond organization in various incarnations throughout the years. He adopted the writings of Aleister Crowley to the point, yes, Aleister Crowley, the Satanist, to the point where he thought he might have been his heir, if not illegitimate, whatever. Anyway, enough about Graham Bond for now. I will get back to him later on. Not today, though. So, Heisman and Hextall Smith recruited Dave Greenslade on keyboards, very good keyboard player. Mark Clarker on bass, and Dave Clemson. Probably know the name Clem Clemson from a later version of Humble Pie. He replaced Peter Frampton when Peter Frampton left Humble Pie. So, getting back to that, so Dave Clemson was the Colosseum vocalist. His singing was serviceable. I'm not going to knock that. But out of the blue, and I guess that the guys thought, well, the band's not really making it. They brought in, which was a big surprise at the time, Chris Farlow. Now, Chris Farlow is a fabulous, fabulous singer. The guy's unique, one of a kind. He started out in R&B, show music. How his voice is unique to the point where, yeah, I could, in the earliest versions of his career, I could hear like that Tom Jones kind of sound. But I can also hear that tenderness. He was adept at doing those big bluesy shouters as much as he was doing tender ballads. He was a darling of the London set. He was always on TV, British television, the variety shows. Actually, Mick Jagger was a big fan. He produced his Out of Time album, which had a lot of Jagger Richards songs on it. It became a big hit for Chris Farlow. But he was a journeyman. He would filter in and out of different idioms, sounds, groups. So he hooked up with Colosseum and became their lead singer. Actually, Dave Clemson sings one song on this. Farlow, 4 or 5, I believe, and the rest are instrumentals. So, Daughter of Time, phenomenal. There we go. It's a little better. Sorry for the glare, folks. It's a phenomenal recording. How good is this band? Tremendous. It's progressive. It's jazzy. It's blues in parts. It's very maybe experimental for its time. Just really good stuff here. Actually, Chris Farlow slays Jack Bruce's theme for An Imaginary Western. You know that song. And Time Machine is a great Heisman moment on the drums. I mean, just it's not excessive drum playing. It's really good. There's a live. This is a re-release by Cherry Red recently, 2017. This CD. Those of you who are vinyl freaks, you can get the vinyl. It's not going to have the extra tracks. The re-release has 3 extra cuts, including a demo version of Bring Out Your Dead. I guess they were Monty Python fans. Everyone, bring out your dead. So, great Daughter of Time by Colosseum. Also by Colosseum, that did very well for them. They toured incredibly all over the place. Dave Clemson stayed on guitar, and Chris Farlow stayed with the band. And so they did this live album, pretty much right? Pretty much Colosseum Live. I mean, guess who that guy is? So, also re-released by Cherry Red about 2016. This CD is totally worth it. Again, vinyl lovers can find the 7 songs originally released on the Colosseum Live from 1971, or if you want to search this out, and you could find this, CD2 is just great. It has another date, because I can't believe these guys played all these songs on one show. Back in those days, shows were shorter, especially if you had multiple bands. The version of Time Machine here, the John Heisman drum thing, is just expanded. It's really, truly good. As far as live albums go, the production sound is really terrific. So again, Colosseum, I will be discussing them again later on. Yes, prog rock with touches of other things. Big surprise this time, we're going to do something different. Harumi. You may not know this. So, a little bit of a surprise here. Yes, he does take notes, folks. Harumi, also known as Harumi Ando, young, very good-looking Japanese man, showed up in the Andy Warhol realm, that whole factory thing, around 1968, in New York City. Now, here's the big mystery. One album only, supposedly had toured, but there's not any record of it, of him touring. Disappeared off the face of the earth, returned to Japan, who knows? Was Harumi Harumi? Was he someone else? Anyway, he sang in perfectly accented English, and his music is, to me, progressive. There's pop on there, there's this Eastern modal tunings. It's folk. It's psychedelic. The production is magnificent for its time period. This 1968 recording was produced by Tom Wilson. Those of you who might be familiar with that name, you could check him out on Wikipedia. He passed away, unfortunately. Tom worked with Frank Zappa, Bob Dylan, the Velvet Underground. So you could hear some of that stuff going on here. You could see, so it's on Verve Forecast, which is a big label at that time. Very out there, cool stuff is going on Verve. And so this one-off guy gets a deal. It's incredible. This didn't happen a lot back then. Very cool stuff. It's rumored that Harumi passed away in 2007 at age 62, which is young at the time. But was it true? I really like this. If you like your proggy material, a little bit more psychedelic, a little bit more pop, a little bit more introspective, smoke a joint, drink a beer, have a glass of wine. This is really good. No, I was kidding. I'm kidding. But this is really good stuff. I highly recommend it. The vinyl itself is still out there. When it was originally released, I don't believe it's ever been reissued, and I'd be skeptical if I see a reissue, to my knowledge. I've seen it out there for crazy prices, crazy high prices. You could find this CD re-released on Verve's Early Dawn label in 2017, and then discontinued. I highly recommend this. It's worth it. It's 35, 40 minutes of your time, and you would love this. You might even go into heavy rotation in your household. I did it, and I highly recommend this because it's different. And you could hear that whole early Yes thing going on, lots of early progressive sounds. Everybody was listening to something in that time period. And true indeed, that listening and sharing sounds, well, that was a thing, correct? Now I'm going to go on to a band I know many of you have not heard of. It's called Espers. So they had a first release around 2003, and the second one about 2 years later. The Weed Tree. Sorry, this is the Weed Tree. This is their first release. They were from Philadelphia in the United States. Very much influenced by Pentangle, earliest versions of Fairport, psychedelic sounds, and Eastern modal tunings. There we go again. Indian raga kind of, the sitar tunings done on guitar. So, which is interesting. So, there's a touch of progressive rock in there. I really like this band. They did do another album, which I believe is all cover tunes, including Nico. I really would like to hear that, but they pretty much self-distributed on a very small label, Locust Music. But I'd say if you go find this, track it out. Track it down. You might really find Espers to your liking. I don't believe they perform anymore, unless, unknown to me, they recently reunited. And in that case, I'd check them out. They have a male singer and a female singer, and she has been in a punkish band in the last 4 or 5 years. So, but I think she's just a multi-talented person, and I haven't heard that band, and I haven't sought it out, but that I do know. But Espers, check it out. So, in today's short show, what's the big surprisey? This Italian band, The Watch. Incredible. All Genesis fans should know about this band. Very, very good. They sort of UTR under the radar here. I don't know why. They've done, I believe, 4 or 5 recordings. If I'm incorrect, somebody can please comment, or I'll correct myself in a later show. I have 2 of their CDs. This one is called Primitive. It's a concept album. We're talking progressive rock. These guys are so much like Genesis, it blows my mind. The singer sounds like Peter Gabriel. The songs are written like Genesis songs you didn't know existed. Really good stuff. In English, by the way. Perfectly accented English. Perfectly spoken English. Perfectly sung English. This is the Genesis album Genesis fans would love. I have another. And the other watch compact disc, I will discuss it another time. It's not as great as Primitive. Why did I say Primitive as a concept album? It's about Germany in the 1930s. That's pretty heady stuff for a why not do the fall of the Berlin Wall in the 80s, which Pink Floyd had done. It's called The Wall and other things. But really, this band is tremendous. I highly recommend the watch. I'll be discussing them again in later shows. Also, we have a lot of new Italian material that just came in, and I will be in later shows also discussing Transatlantic, that all-star band, and as well as Flying Colors, another band everyone pretty much knows in that Neil Morse universe. So yeah, this is the first show we've done in probably a month. I was gonna do a green mention of Green Slade. I decided to pull that out. I actually recorded the show, but we had I had audio difficulties, and so I left the Green Slade out of today. I will discuss Green Slade because Dave Greenslade was in Colosseum, which I just mentioned, at a later date. So anyway, I hope you all liked the show. Thank you for tuning in. See you all soon. Stay safe. Have a good one.